Good morning, grade 6. Welcome to your English literature class. We will be discussing part 6 of Wonder, which is from Augie's perspective, and this lesson will be the end of Augie's part. So let's begin. You have your learning objectives now, which is to infer and deduce ideas from the text, select and retrieve information from the text. Now, before we begin the next set of chapters, I want you to just think about how will Daisy's death affect August? Will this bring the Pullman family closer to each other? And who do you think will miss Daisy the most, and why? Now, here's a quick summary of the chapter that we're going to read today. That's Daisy's toys. So after Mom takes Daisy to the hospital, Auggie and Bea gather all of Daisy's toys and set them on the coffee table, and they wait for Justin to come. While the three of them are sitting together, Bea tells them how Daisy started to moan and shake and even bit Mom's hand when Mom tried to help. This makes Auggie start crying, and then Bea hugs him and apologizes to Auggie because of what has happened before. And then after a few hours, Mom and Dad come back home without Daisy, and then they explain everything that happened at the vet. Now, later that evening, Auggie is a bit upset because of the turn of events, and then he wants somebody to help him sleep. So he goes into his parents' room, and there he sees his dad crying silently, and he's never seen his dad cry, so he sneaks out of the room without being seen. Next, he goes on to Bea's room, and there he sees that Bea is sobbing on the bed while Mom is comforting her. And then Auggie decides that he has to be on his own, so he puts himself to bed without asking anyone to comfort him. So, now, a question. Mom and Dad and Bea are grieving separately to August. August is not involved. Now, can you think why the author has done this? And also, why do you think Bea hugged Auggie before she went out to the play on page 228? So, heaven. Very early in the morning, Auggie wakes up and crawls into bed next to Mom. And he asks about her hand and if Bea was ashamed of him. And he apologizes to Mom for his words at dinner. But Mom's too sleepy and tired, and she tells Auggie to sleep as well. But then Auggie asks if Daisy is with his grands in heaven, because he wants to know if people look the same in heaven, and if not, how do people recognize each other. So Mom explains that nobody forgets who they love, and you don't need to see to love. Now this is got to do with Augie's face. He always has this thing about his face. So he wants to know, if he dies, will he have the same face when he goes up in heaven? And Auggie wonders how it would feel not to have his face matter when he's in heaven, and how it never mattered to Daisy, because Daisy never, of course Daisy was a dog and could never say anything about his face, but it didn't seem as if Daisy was affected by Augie's appearance. Understudy, the next chapter. So a few days later, Bea brings home 3 tickets to the play, and then all of them go to the play, Dad, Mom and Auggie. And Auggie is very nervous at how big Bea's school is. He wishes now that he could wear his baseball cap in the crowd, but the caps do not work with his hearing aid. August asks why Bea's role is being called an understudy, as Mom and Dad discuss Miranda's family. Now, while Auggie asks Dad something, Dad calls him Auggie Doggy when he answers. And then Auggie whispers to his dad that, not to call him that anymore. And then when the play starts, Auggie knows right away that he's going to like it, because it seems grown up. So, as they start watching the play, Mom, Dad and August are shocked when Bea walks out instead of Miranda. She's the one doing the main part. Now, before we begin the next set of chapters, I want you to just think about how will Daisy's death affect August? Will this bring the Pullman family closer to each other? And who do you think will miss Daisy the most, and why? Moving on to the last chapter, the ending. So the play turns out to be amazingly amazing, and it is an incredible play, and the ending makes everyone cry. Even V is crying. August stands up and applauds with the audience, and Dad explains that this is called the standing ovation. Now, Auggie thinks that Via and Justin must be feeling very happy, and he also feels that everyone should get a standing ovation once in their lives. Now, as the audience make their way out, Dad and Mom also go out, and they spot Via and Justin, and they congratulate them. And then that's when Via explains that Miranda got sick right before the show was supposed to start, and Via had to take over. Meanwhile, the teacher, Via and Justin's teacher, Mr. Davenport, comes over, and Via introduces him to her mom and dad and Augie. And just before Mr. Davenport could react to Augie's appearance, Justin pulls Mr. Davenport away before he could say something. And meanwhile, Augie, he finds himself in a crowd of people, and he's not sure where his parents are. He starts to panic. He feels dizzy, and he hears a strange noise in his ears. He yells for Mom, and he tries to push his way through the crowd when suddenly he hears a familiar voice, and that is Miranda. She's the one who's calling for August. She calls him Major Tom. Alright? Thank you. So, now we finished reading the chapters, and I want you to think about this. Mr. Davenport does not come out of this section of the book as a good character, or somebody very pleasant. Can you collect evidence from the text to tell me how the author paints him unsympathetically? His actions, what does he do? What does he do, or how does he react, which make him appear to be unsympathetic? And also, why do you think the author has mentioned Miranda's parents? What is the technique? What is he trying to do?